Hello everyone, this is Many Ninja speaking, and this is a new episode of the Bootleg Breakdown series, where basically I just look across a bunch of bogus stuff as I come across in my journeys, and today's is a little bit different because I don't think there's a review yet anywhere of the SH Figuarts Majin Vegeta bootleg, based on the real figure of course, that came out a little bit earlier in 2018. As you can see on the outside, looking at the figure, you can tell there's some weird stuff going on, but in terms of the packaging, aside from the missing copyright information, all that stuff you normally see down there, it's actually pretty much a dead ringer for what the real deal looks like. In terms of general presentation, what you expect is what is the norm these days. Everything otherwise in the package looks about legit in this case, minus the missing copyright information on the front. And to help emphasize this point, I have one of the North American releases here. And as you can see there, even in terms of color-wise, maybe a little bit faded, but otherwise about the same. Of course, the missing logos there, DBZ logo, the Tamashii Nations logo, Bandai, and assorted stickers that they place on the front are missing, but otherwise, in terms of print quality and mostly the color, they're about the same here. In the back, everything is pretty much lining up for the most part. One thing I would note, which is on the real one that's on the right there of this particular video, which I'm kind of zooming in and helping to compare with these two, is there are a few discrepancies along the bottom there, but that's more just the Bluefin distributors putting extra stickers on top of the normal stuff in order to kind of make it fit for the North American market here. Otherwise, they're pretty much dead ringers. Yeah, it's actually, it wasn't for the missing logos on the stock, it's a pretty decent kind of fill-in gap if you needed to replace a box for some reason. So that's not what we're really talking about here. We're not interested in just the box. Let's open it up and take a look at the figure itself here. Of course, another little tidbit when you open these up, once again I'm kind of fighting with the tape over here, is of course a little difference that you'll notice on the real figures and the fake one. There's always a kind of a plastic film in there, not so much a little plastic bits that they kind of stick in between the joints on the real figure, and this one is no exception. And as I take off the X-Acto, the little film will come off with the lid here, and we'll be able to take a good look at the nitty-gritty of it. Which is definitely something I want to see, because there is something going on weird with this particular toy, even just from the get-go. Namely with the shoulders, which is something that kind of popped up when I was looking at the original eBay auction here. And my oh my. This thing doesn't feel good exactly. These are very loose legs. These are very loose hips. The knees are kind of alright in this case, but I don't know what's going on. The ankles, the toes, everything is extremely floppy at this point. Like I said, the knees they'll be able to hold on their own, but yeah, actually no. Actually, I believe what I'm seeing here, on top of the little crotch piece being backwards, there is fake articulation on this thing. It's not 2.0 articulation at all. What you might be seeing there is, in the real 2.0, that's supposed to be like a little separate place between the joints, and in this case it's actually faked. It's one, instead of the three separate pieces, it's one piece that is like a molded cast together bit that meant to look like the normal pieces, and the actual hip joints, which are moving up and down, are moving up and down like they would for 1.0 joints, which, because they're extremely loose, means they're flopping right down. They're not being held in place properly. It's not very tight. And the neck piece is not very tight, and the shoulders, which are sticking out very much from the figure, I can't even get them to budge at this point. They're not even moving whatsoever. It's like there's barely any motion there, and yeah, just about every joint on this figure, except maybe those knee joints and the elbows, which are kind of holding their place. Yeah, everything else is just a mess right now. And I'll look even further. Yeah, the arm for the gloves, the actual wrists to the gloves are a different color. The real figure has a little bit of this issue, but not nearly as pronounced. And of course, because why not, the wrist joints, the ball joints for the bit that kind of hold the hands in place, are also skin tone, which is, as you can imagine, a little bit on the wrong side. Yep. Turning around the arms in this case, because right out of the package the bicep, triceps area were all backwards, but that's a quick enough fix. I've had real figures with similar issues, so it's not a big deal here. But generally speaking, with the exception of the shoulder joints, which don't move at all, and the elbow and knee joints, everything else on this figure seems to be a floppy mess. Even the head here, which, by the way, if it looks like the color of the hair on the back and the color of the hair on the faceplate are different colors, that's because it is, by the way. Yeah, no, there's well, the faceplates look decent enough. Everything on it actually looks a little bit on the soft side. I'll explain and elaborate that on a little bit more later, but yeah, no, the rest of this figure is entirely a floppy mess. There's fake joining on the hips, crotch area, which is backwards. I can't even really move the shoulders. They're completely stuck here. So, yeah. Suffice to say, I am not thoroughly impressed at this point. This figure can't even really stand on its own, so we're doing a quick jump cut. I had to get it onto the stand because, like I said, I couldn't get it to stand on its own. And let's look at the accessories now. Now, there's, much like the real one, it comes with 4 faceplates. But mind you, one of the faceplates does look awful lot like the normal default one. Maybe the eyes are slightly off to the side, but unfortunately, it's still not a good fit for the ever-missing side-glancing faceplate. In case you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, an issue that this particular release had, even for the real figures, is that they accidentally duplicated one of the faceplates, namely the straight-looking stare in this case. And while the figure prominently shows a kind of a side glance based off of some of the panels from the manga in this case, it didn't appear in the proper release. And if you contacted Bandai Japan in order to fix it up, a handful of people were managed to get a replacement faceplate for that. But if you were getting the North American release, Bluefin did not provide the same degree of customer service or kind of replacement plates. So if you didn't get one with the proper one, you're pretty much out of luck in this case. And unfortunately, I don't have a good replacement with the new faceplates for the bootleg. Alright, enough of that. Going with the comparison here, you can see in terms of size, they are about the right size. Although the placement of some of the decals are definitely a bit different. The third faceplate with the open mouth grin or smirk definitely makes it more notable, especially the paint around the teeth and the mouth do stand out, as well as the placement of the eyes on that particular one. I would say also the placement of the lines underneath the eyes are definitely a bit off. Same with the kind of eyebrow markings that they had in this case. Generally, they don't look that bad, but if you compare to the real one, you can tell the difference in this case. And another key difference that does stick out is that the facial features and the hair detail is a bit softer on the upper deck, which are the fake ones. Probably because they're recast, I figure. As a little pointer note, I kind of recorded this after the fact and put it in. The pegs on the back do line up roughly well for each one, although you can tell the fake ones are indeed recasts of some sort. They aren't the same kind of high quality. It isn't as clean by any means, but it should be functional. So if you wanted to use the fake faceplates, kind of clean them up and remove the Majin mark to make it a more default Boost Saga Vegeta, that is something you should be able to do there. As long as you don't mind that the face decals are slightly off-kilter compared to the originals, well, you have something to work with here, just to put it out there. And that might be one of the few redeeming details of this figure, just because, well, you saw the rest of this video before, so you know what I think about the rest of the body. Alright, the last bit of accessories would be talking about the hands. For the most part, the hands aren't too much to talk about. It's just one thing I do want to note. Real hand is on the left, fake hand is on the right. And much like the faces, the level of detail of the cast for the fake hands are noticeably reduced. Everything is a lot softer in terms of the casting. Even in terms of the entry port for the hands, a little gap there, everything's a lot softer. Probably because these are probably recast things, much like the rest of the face and most of the other details, and they aren't quite perfect. And one final bit here, let's compare with the real Vegeta figure on the right here. And, well, I don't need to explain the shoulders once again. You can see the fake ones stick out like a sore thumb. I can't get them to move. Kind of realize after the fact the torso is also a bit thinner on the fake figure, which is a bit weird, but also explains why one of the many reasons why the hips look like they don't fit quite right. Well, speaking of the hips, yes, you can see the one on the fake figure is indeed backwards. And, well, I don't need to explain it. I mentioned earlier, the hips are completely fake. The 2.0 style articulation is completely missing from the bootleg for the hips. Those are 1.0, just amusingly disguised at best. Knee joints, kind of there. They kind of work, kind of not. Off kilter there. Ankles, well, you can see they stick out like a sore thumb. And for the toe bits, not only is there a bit of a paint difference, they're just incredibly loose. They don't work particularly well, much like most of the thing on the figure here. In this case, I think that wraps up. There's not much more I can say about this other than if I do a video trying to fix it up, that will be a definite of interest in this case, but would I recommend this bootleg figure? Not a chance in hell. Even if you want the faceplates, there are probably better and cheaper ways to do it. The rest of the figure is a total mess. I'm not sure if this can be fixed in this case. Not without a lot of kind of breaking the figure apart in order to remake things. And that's all I have to say about this one, at least. Thanks for watching, folks. Catch you later.